Hi, if you're finding that sleep is one of your major menopausal symptoms and it's seriously impacting your life, then this video is for you. And today I am joined by the amazing Clarissa Kristjansson, and she is a menopause coach and mentor, and she specializes in stress and mindfulness. She is fantastic and so brilliant at what she does. Hi, Clarissa.
Oh, thank you, Kate. Well, I'm so happy to be here and to have a conversation about something that I'm very, very passionate about, which is helping other women to sleep better, because I know lots of us struggle with that, as I did myself.
Yeah, I did too. Absolutely. Now, there are 4 videos in this series. This is the first one. Now, they go in pairs. So, the first one is sort of like the entry level, the basic information on sleep. And then the next one is going to be the advanced level. So, please ensure that you subscribe so that you get both of those videos and all of the information. So, let's get started. So, menopause is massive for so many women and it is a detrimental experience for their lives. But one of the big symptoms in that is sleep. And I know that in 4 years, I had 4 nights of solid sleep, and the attritional nature of that is utterly devastating.
That's very true, because it just flows on. If we don't sleep, I mean, even if we weren't perimenopausal, we would be pretty grumpy within a very short time. But it's compounding all our symptoms, and our symptoms are sort of compounding our sleep. So it's this back and forth that we have, and we get brain foggy. We can put on extra weight because it doesn't help our weight. It makes us anxious and generally not very nice to be around. We're pretty moody and irritable if we haven't had a good night's sleep. So those are things we already have as symptoms. So trying to get a good night's sleep, which is sometimes a little harder said than done, is critical.
I absolutely agree with that. They are sleep tends to aggravate every other symptom that you have. And that is for very good reasons. It was a torture in medieval Europe because, as you say, it affects everything about us. It affects our psychological capacity, our intellectual abilities, and it affects us physically as well. We make extremely poor food choices when we're tired. And the ripples flow out through the whole of our lives. So, Clarissa, why is sleep such a big issue during menopause? What's causing it?
What's causing it? Well, obviously, it's to do with estrogen, and estrogen has so many centers in our brain. And our brain is what helps us to govern our sleep. So, if things aren't quite working well up there, then sleep becomes difficult. We can have symptoms like being hot, hot flashes, night sweats. You wake up in the middle of the night, you're soaked in sweat, and it's pretty hard to just go back to sleep. You have to get up, get changed, maybe change the bedclothes. It's a performance. And then it takes longer for us to get back to sleep. So we're awake till 4 a.m, eyes wide open. Then we've slept for 2 hours and I'm done with this. So that's a very common symptom, Kate. But I think we also recognize anxiety is a big issue for perimenopausal women. If your mind is racing, you won't find it easy to get to sleep, and you won't find it easy to get back to sleep. So then we have ridiculous thoughts going in our head that aren't true. They're this sort of cognitive dissonance where we've created stories in our head that keep us up. And when, of course, we then pick up our mobile phone and we start scrolling, and we're on a journey to no sleep. And I think I would also mention in there the sort of pain as well, because a lot of women have joint and muscle pain.
Yeah.
And that pain can really interfere with your sleep. And I think we often forget that can also be a symptom for many women. And if your back hurts, your knee hurts, something else, then it really is debilitating and interferes with your ability to sleep, even if you have a nice, comfortable bed. So there are lots of reasons why women aren't sleeping through perimenopause.
Yeah, I think from my own personal history, I mean, I would have at least four night sweats, and that would mean I'd be waking up about 8 times a night, because I'd wake up because I was too hot, then I'd wake up because I was cold, because I'd thrown all the covers off. And as you say, there's also that thing where you're lying. I had insomnia as well, so it was a fairly toxic mix, and I would lie there worrying that I couldn't get to sleep, and then that anxiety would drift into so many areas of my consciousness, and before I knew it, I was worrying about everything, and I was in a really, really difficult place. And I know that I speak to lots of women, but the point about all of those symptoms, but that last point you made about the aching joints and limbs is one that we rarely think about when we talk, or we don't discuss it as it affecting sleep.
No, we don't. And it's only because I happen to train in pain management that I learned how debilitating it was, because every woman I met that had chronic pain couldn't sleep, and nothing they did helped them at all. That was one of the biggest things. And of course, once you're tired, you're on this energy high-low cycle that is a vicious cycle.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would imagine, this definitely isn't my area of specialism, but I would imagine that the sleep deprivation aggravates that pain situation as well. And the pain receptors in your body are frazzled, if you like, and that it elevates that discomfort and that anxiety around all of that.
Yes, and I think you get the anxiety coming through, as you said, Kate. That is a big part of why women then don't sleep. So you're in a messy place. And as you said earlier, we then also make very bad food choices, which in turn don't help us to sleep anymore. And we're not turning off our appetite hormones.
Yeah.
So we are there in the cupboard thinking, oh, that biscuit, that muffin looks very good, which of course is the opposite of what we're supposed to be doing to keep our weight in a good space.
Yeah, and weight is a major issue, and I get emails and calls at most days around about weight. It is something that women worry about, and for many women, they can't understand why it is that they are suddenly piling on the weight, because it piles on. Once it starts, it's really tough to stop. But those sort of choices that you are making, the food doesn't magically appear in your mouth, does it? The chocolate biscuit doesn't magically find its way into your chops. You actually have to put it there.
Yes. And that's a little bit about what sleep is like, that we have to, make some choices about our routines and the things we want to do. Because even if we're having some issues, which we may be able to help, like our night sweats may require us to think about hormone therapy, there's lots of things in our lifestyle we can actually do that will help us to sleep better.
Okay, so without further ado, what are the sort of top 5 things that we can do to help us sleep better?
I think that it's very good to start with dumping a lot of the stuff out of here. Our head is full of these anxious thoughts that are not true. So if we can try and let go of some of those, that is a huge step forward. We may need some help to do that, but even writing down these things and learning to ask, is it really true or not, is a first point of call. So we're working those anxious thoughts, because then we'll be able to fall asleep. It's really important to have a regular routine. There is no catching up. Sorry, I hate to tell you, but you cannot catch up your sleep on the weekend or some other time. We need to commit to that.
Yeah.
To saying, I am, and your routine is as much your morning as your evening. So we have a complicated body and system, but we can get light into our eyes first thing in the mornings. Then it says to you, it's morning. You start to sync your melatonin, which is an important sleep hormone. And then at night, you want an hour before bed, wind down the lights, wind down the noise, start to think about preparing yourself for bed and sleep. So you're helping yourself along.
That's really interesting. And especially, Clarissa, you live in the Nordics. So in the winter, there's not that much light around. I mean, already here in the UK, it's coming towards the end of September as we're recording this. We're well into autumn. The mornings are dark now at least when I get up in the morning, and it's obviously it's darker much earlier. So how can you sort of manage that with your melatonin, that kind of, I'm awake and there's light, all those sorts of things?
And I think we get plenty of practice that, as you said, over here in the Nordics. I mean, it can sometimes not be light till 9 in the morning. So that's not fun. And then it's dark by 3. So you do make the most. But I mean, that's when you want to have the right kind of light in your house. And there are really good devices that can help you with getting better light into your home if that's what you need. And then get outside. And as soon as you can get outside, take off your specs if you wear them, because actually you want the light to come into your eyes. It's not just standing there, So actually take off your specs. And if you're in the summer and you don't live in the bright sunlight, take off your sunglasses. I know that everybody's telling you the opposite, but even a short while is going to help your body.
Gosh, that's a marvelous tip. I hadn't even thought about that. I'll be doing that very shortly. I shall go out and take my gloves off because it's a lovely sunny day here. Okay, so we've got emptying your head, clearing out all those sort of anxious thoughts, and we've also got your routine, and that's morning and evening, and making sure that you get out there and actually expose your eyes and yourself to natural daylight, so that you're actually kicking off that melatonin in your body.
Indeed. And then my third thing is watch what you eat in the evening in particular, because sometimes we wake up because our blood sugar has crashed. And if your blood sugar was to crash in the middle of the night, that would signal to your body that it's in fight flight. And you wake up all kind of, that's your hormones, your cortisol and adrenaline saying, we better mobilize some sugar here in the system, and get going. So it is important to think about, what have I eaten? And so I would always say to people, track your sleep. You can get a little Oura ring, or you can have, like me, I've got a little watch, and you can't quite see it there, but I've got a little watch there, and I track my sleep just to see how it's going on. And then if I've had a bad night, I might ask questions like, well, what else did I do? Did I drink lots of wine? Did I have a nice pasta carbonara? All of those things are quick sugar releases in the body. And that doesn't help us, because it gets us to wake up in addition to everything else that could be keeping us awake. So watch what you eat.
It's the one thing that women can take control of immediately, without question. My first go-tos was to absolutely start to look at what I ate. And it's about making sure that your understanding, your perceptions of food are not based on speed and easy access and maybe historic ways of thinking. So when you were growing up, what your mum gave you, or when you were a teenager at university, what you ate. Have a spring clean of those ideas and really assess what's good for you and what's good for your body. So clean food, that's a lack of processed food, eating a rainbow, keep sort of pulling back on those processed and highly processed carbohydrates like bread and potatoes, so pasta, making sure that if you are eating those, that you are eating the whole meal version, skins on the potatoes and things like that. They're easy things for us to do, aren't they? We can actually take control of that today. Absolutely.
You could do a simple swap it. If you like potato, have a sweet potato. It's a low GI food. So it releases sugars slowly into the body, because we still need carbs. But yes, that's a very easy thing to do. Look at what you can change. High fibre, slower release, more plants, you know, the usual message, but it does flow through directly to your sleep. And sorry, wine is something I try and work with my women. I mean, not to, because it's dehydrating and it's just not a good thing. And then you wake up all hot and bothered, and it doesn't help with our other symptoms. So yes, drinking less will make a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure we can all remember having gone out and had a few glasses of wine and had a terrible night's sleep on the back of it. And really, that's what's happening to your body, maybe in a lesser version. If you are drinking even to a small amount, that's what's happening in background as you're sleeping. So it is impacting you. And of course, alcohol stops the absorption of vitamin D as well. So if you are in any way prone to osteoporosis, as I am, then that is a major issue for you too. So really, these are things that although they may sound very boring, are actually important. So we now come to the good old caffeine.
Caffeine, yes. I think my advice to you on that one is stop drinking caffeinated drinks around about midday. You can have a few and try and see if, again, it's a bit of a swap it. You know, you may not be caffeine sensitive. I mean, some people aren't, but it is usually a good rule of thumb that that's likely. The later in the day, you know, that you drink coffee, the more likely it's going to impact your sleep. So swap it for a green tea or a fruit tea, or some sparkly water or something else. And, you know, just say, well, I've enjoyed my 1 or 2 cups. You know, there's evidence that says it can be good for other parts of the body system, but it doesn't help you to sleep. It's not a supportive thing to do.
No, and I think if sleep is one of your major menopausal symptoms, for all the reasons that we said at the beginning of this video, at this point in your life, this is the thing that you really need to gain control of. And it's those studies that say it may be good for other parts of your body, then you need to focus on this so that you can give your body the sleep that it desperately needs. And then, you know, later down the line, if you can introduce another cup when you're not suffering so badly, then that's fine. But at this point, at this juncture, sleep is the issue.
Yep.
Is there anything else that we can do?
Exercise would be my last point. Maybe it should be the first as well, but I think exercise is vital. You know, there's so much advice that getting out and moving your body, preferably earlier in the day than later, because obviously you don't want to pump up the body and pump up your cortisol levels and all the rest and have all that residual energy floating around at night. But I would say getting out and really moving in the morning is going to help your body tremendously. One of the things that exercise does, we're going to talk about stress later, is that it reduces your stress, you know, very, very quickly. And it supports things that go on in your brain when you sleep. So you'll embed memories, you'll find it easier to learn things. Exercise and sleep together will be a huge point to helping you with some of the more psychological, mental aspects of the perimenopause.
Yeah, I think that there are multiple studies about exercise that say if there's one thing that you can do to support your whole physiology, then it's exercise. It's the one gift you can give to your body very easily that benefits all of you immediately.
Yep. That is, and it's very easy. It can start with a walk, a good brisk walk, 30 minutes a day. The flow and effect to your health is unbelievable. And beyond that, you know, you'll notice that you sleep better. You notice that you're less stressed. So it's going to help you. I think it's the simplest, most free thing you can do.
Absolutely. And of course, it helps you to up your metabolism so that you don't put on so much weight. Therefore, it helps your confidence and how you feel about yourself. It's one of those easy wins that does the opposite to a lack of sleep. So it makes you feel good across so many areas of your life. And as you say, I mean, it's a 30-minute brisk walk. That's walk the dog. It's grab your warm coffee in the morning with your girlfriend and go for a walk. It could be something really, really simple. It does not mean pounding the streets, unless that's your choice. It does not mean pounding the streets. It can mean something really great. It could even mean a Zumba or a dance class or any of those sorts of things. So, yeah, I think that exercise is a fantastic one to end on. So if you are thinking that all of that is fantastic and you want to know more and you want to get into the depth of what this can do, so how to help you get better sleep naturally and easily, then the next video is for you, where we'll be talking about the more advanced, deeper things that are available for you to do today. So please subscribe, leave a message, and we will see you soon.